Hey there, and welcome, finally, to something new. Welcome, and be surprised, because this is a little Christmas winter special. I don't call it Christmas because that would put me under unnecessary pressure to make this really finished until 24th of December, which most likely won't be happening at all. I know myself, and I know how this all works, so here we go. But most definitely this is nothing that goes on forever. This is just like something that is for a few episodes. If I should take a guess, it's something between 5 and 8. This is pretty just loosely guessed, I guess, but I think at least it's based on my experience and on my plans. So usually what I wanted to do though is I wanted to finish off completely projects that I do next to Quali and only release them once they're finished. There is a little problem at the moment with like timing, I should say, since next week on the 18th there's the new update, and I do definitely want to wait for the next episode to put the update in, but actually to to go on and do, because like from what I've seen already, there's one thing already in I definitely want to have in here, so I'm really willing to just wait for it. Something I really have to explain about this little thing is that I'm going to do something rather boring in terms of building, I guess. It's more like an idea of testing how far the TMT can go and how far Planet Coaster can go with its technology, I guess. And now the doorbell rang, and I quickly need to open the door, and I'll be back with you in a second. Alright, that was the wife who just came home. And I wasn't really expecting her that early. Anyhows, yeah, just to finish off my little thoughts I had beforehand, it's quite, as I said, it's not really intense in the way of theming I'm going to build. It's definitely not going to be realistic oriented, like kind of Isla Napali is. Definitely not going to try to be awfully realistic in anything I do. It's really something I'm trying to do to make look nice, look really decent, look really stunning, really eye candy. And it's definitely something more videographic, which I'm going to make a nice little, yeah, I think kind of, yeah, I think it's really a cinematic showcase, I should say, of Planet Coaster, which I wanted to do for such a long time. I really wanted to make the game look as best as possible, and this is not just only graphic wise. This means really in terms of everything the engine with all its things can deliver. So I'm not willing to spoil already what's going on, because there's one special thing I'm doing, and the real intention behind this I'm not going to reveal in the episodes. You definitely have to wait until the end, because the cool thing about what we planned, I have to say, I've help for this project. It's again Mr. Crapzone, who's really helping me a lot with all the Blender stuff I'm doing, and he's awesome. He's like a workaholic as I am. He's also doing stuff at nights, and he's really awesome. And he's, I was really just, as that's the way I just have some crazy ideas. I really want to get them done as quick as possible. I just reached out to him and I asked him if he would be in, because I most definitely couldn't do that on my own. I mean, I could if I would take holidays and just 3 weeks off. I potentially would have done this, but he's like so much faster in Blender and so much better, that I really would need his help to remake this the way I want to. So we can really expect this to be like a kind of collaboration, if you want so. And this is something, as I said, really making the best use of Planet Coaster, of the TMT, of Blender, of 3D modeling, but also of my weird ideas and of my kind of imagination I do have, which is most of the times it's good, but sometimes it really forces me to do something I don't want to, in terms of rational reasons. Like I surely shouldn't do this project because it surely doesn't fit into my time schedule, but my mind just goes crazy and I need to do it. So here I am doing the stuff, and here's the first major spoiler. This coaster I'm going to build right now is not going to be there in the end. As I said, it is weird. I do actually, if you remember, for those of you who've been sticking with me for quite a while, they do remember that I'm not a natural born coaster builder in Planet Coaster. I'm not a natural bone. I'm not a natural bone. I am a natural bone, but anyways, I'm not a natural born coaster builder in general. Sorry, I'm an enthusiast because I love it, but I had no ideas of building. And for those of you, as I said, who have been with me since the beginning, they know how awful I was at coaster building. And it appeared that after having basically, I think, let's say 90% of every coaster I did in the last year was aimed at being realistic. And I really wanted to finally have a project where I am going in, and from the very first second I say, I have no freaking idea, or not idea, but there's like no restriction for myself to make it realistic. Like this is not the main target, right? So I don't want to put myself some imaginative boundaries or limitations to force myself to make it awfully realistic. So I really wanted to make kind of a fantasy coaster here, which is still enjoyable and rideable, and which is still, let's say, at least kind of, if you have too much money and I don't know, if you don't want to follow any sense of kind of a realistic project, this would at least be kind of rideable. I think that's the minor little thing I have in mind, at least. But why am I even talking about this in this detail? So what I wanted to actually say is that by having built these awful lot of realistic coasters, I really got into the game of making realistic coasters. I really understood why it is that much fun, and why it really is so satisfying to have a coaster in the end where you really can argue, yeah, but it is realistic. It could be built that way in real life, and I do have to move that support a meter off here. Like, honestly, at the beginning, as I was started, I was seeing that as a challenge for myself to get better in something I'm not comfortable with, like really getting better in a area that is really not my main area. And I always like these kind of challenges, and so at the beginning I couldn't really understand. I really wasn't expecting that I'm ever getting that guy who's, you know, willing to think about placing supports correctly. But yeah, what's happening is really I am getting that kind of guy, not as much as many other people. I still think there is kind of, I'm kind of a hybrid. And really doing this kind of fantasy coaster here, it didn't satisfy me. It really, at the end, I was looking at it and I was like trying to think like, yeah, you know what, it's, you know, it's just there for being nice, for looking nice, and you can just smooth it out still and it's fine. And I don't know, I didn't feel it. that sounds bad. I don't want to sound that kind of esoteric or something. I didn't feel it. I have to say it that way. Just didn't work out the way I hoped it would, and it felt wrong to do it that way. I mean, I had the idea to build it with this coaster track, as you can see over here, and then later on fill it in exactly the same layout with an B&M track to kind of make a launched B&M coaster out of it, because I figured that this track from the Bargest coaster is the most thinnest you can use and still cover up with the B&M track. It kind of does fit nicely, and you can actually really rebuild this nicely. I tested this before, so it is working. It's quite a lot of work to really smooth it out the way it really fits exactly in the same spots, but it appeared that I don't really want to do it, and so in the end there will be another coaster, which we are going to talk about once this coaster is here in this park, in this video, because I haven't finished it yet. It is another coaster you guys know and you guys love, so I am, as I said, going to talk about more about this one as soon as it's done. But for now, you have to deal with this coaster. Maybe, I don't even know if I have an autosave of this. If I do have, I'm gonna release this coaster wide array, so you can just ride it if you want. So, but it's pretty bad actually. Or maybe if I do have, I'm gonna put a POV of it before I'm going to show you the next episode. So, right, kind of, that at least makes sense that I've built this one at some point. I don't know. And oh no, I know, I have sent this park to Crabzone, so he has it. Cool, yeah, so you most definitely get a POV of this coaster in the next episode before I'm going to change to the other coaster. But yeah, for now, It has to be that way. And also what I want to talk about now is the general idea about the island is like, as I said, it's kind of somewhere in, I didn't say that yet, so not as I said, but it is somewhere in the northern part of Europe. Definitely Scandinavia. I didn't want to really boil it down to Norway or Sweden or Denmark exactly. So it is kind of in the Nordish area. I definitely want to use kind of some buildings in this kind of architecture that you would most likely find over there. But at the end of the day, it's just something Nordic looking. No Viking stuff intended, just really nowadays modern, actually semi-modern, Norwegian, Swedish kind of inspired architecture around here with a little village in the middle that is kind of a little harbor, a really tiny fishing harbor with a little bit of fishing boats in the lagoon and these kind of things, and having this really like a fjord. I don't even know, is that the same word in English? At least it is in German. It's fjord, means kind of these very much waterish areas in the northern part with these all of little half islands in there in the northern sea. I really love them. They're kind of nature-wise, they're one of the most amazing spots on Earth. I haven't been there yet, but I'm really wanting to go there. So they're one of the most biggest targets to go there one day with my wife. She's also very much willing to go there once. Haven't been there yet, which is kind of a shame, but yeah. So really a beautiful spot, which I wanted to finally bring in here. I haven't been doing this at all in Planet Coaster yet, so really nice new challenge. I think it fits the Christmas winter time quite a bit. And honestly speaking now, I felt like it's time to really go out of Isla Napali again and to show you guys something new and fresh and, you know, fun. Because I feel like I'm totally bought into Isla Napali. I love the project. I'm so glad you guys are paying so much attention to everything. You're still banging the idea. You're still having fun with it. Don't get me wrong, this will be still the main focus, but at some point you just want to have some fun and just go out of it again and make something else. This is what we do right here. So I really like your opinion down below in the comments. Tell me what you think of this idea. Tell me what you think of, have you been to Norway yet? Have you been to Sweden? Have you been to Denmark? Have you been somewhere to Scandinavia? What's your best kind of experience with it, if you've been there, or if you haven't been there, do you want to go there? Have you ever had the idea to go there? And if so, what do you want to see? If not, maybe you are interested right now, I don't know. And also, yeah, just what you also, maybe you do have an idea what kind of these Norwegian, Swedish, kind of Denmarkish kind of areas look like. So drop me down some photos if you want in the Discord, and anything else can be discussed in the next episode. Until then, I really wish you guys a great day and talk to you in the next episode. Until then, bye bye.